China sent 12 ships to observe Greenland. 39 minutes later, 9 were sinking. 1 week after Russia's catastrophic defeat, Beijing calculated America was vulnerable. Denmark Strait, eastern Greenland, 2:15 p.m., gray afternoon, minus 29 degrees, blizzard conditions, a Massilic coastal station, 120 U.S. Marines, 16 Navy patrol boats, guarding Greenland's eastern approach. Then radar lit up, 12 vessels approaching, painted white, flying civilian research flags, scientific equipment visible on decks. But U.S. satellites saw the truth. Type 055 destroyers, Type 052D destroyers, naval militia disguised as researchers, YJ-18 anti-ship missiles hidden below decks, 2,000 to 400 PLA Marines concealed in cargo holds. Beijing's calculation, America distracted after Russia battle, eastern coast lightly defended, land under guise of research, established presence. International law protects scientific missions, perfect deception. But China made 5 fatal mistakes. First, U.S. Space Force tracked every ship from Chinese ports since departure. Second, USS John Finn destroyer and USS Gerald R Ford strike group were already positioned. Third, the YJ-18 missiles were visible on satellite thermal imaging, despite camouflage. Fourth, U.S. rules of engagement authorized immediate response to hostile intent. Fifth, 24 F-35C fighters were 12 minutes away at Alert 5 status. What happened in the next 39 minutes sank 9 Chinese destroyers, killed 1,640 Chinese personnel, and proved deception doesn't work against American surveillance. This is that story. At 11 a.m., Chinese Eastern Theater Command dispatched Task Force Zhuilong, 12 destroyers, 8 Type 055 Renhai class, 4 Type 05, 2 D Luyang 3 class, each painted white with civilian markings, scientific research banners, oceanographic equipment displayed prominently, plus 2,400 PLA Marines hidden below decks. Mission, land at Ammasalik. Establish forward operating base disguised as research station. Overwhelm small American patrol force before reinforcements arrive. At 1:30 p.m., USS Gerald R Ford carrier strike group received priority alert from Space Force. Chinese fleet approaching Greenland's eastern coast. Satellite thermal imaging shows concealed weapons. Troop concentrations detected. Authorization, defend American territory. Weapons free if China demonstrates hostile intent. Admiral Sarah Chen, Ford Strike Group commander, gave the order. Launch alert 5 package. 24 F-35Cs, full anti-ship loadout. USS. John Finn moves to support coastal patrol. If they're really scientists, they'll turn back. If not, we end them. At 2 p.m., Ammasalik coastal station detected Chinese fleet on radar, 47 miles offshore, closing at 18 knots, still displaying civilian flags. Lieutenant Commander Maria Santos, Coastal Patrol Commander, transmitted warning on international distress frequency. Unidentified vessels. This is United States Navy Ammasalik Patrol. You are approaching restricted waters. State your intentions immediately. Chinese fleet responded. Calm voice. Deliberate English. This is Chinese Research Expedition Zhuilong. We are a peaceful scientific mission conducting Arctic oceanographic studies. We operate in international waters. We proceed to designated research location. Lieutenant Commander Santos transmitted again. Chinese vessels, this is final warning. We have satellite confirmation of military hardware aboard your ships. You are not research vessels. You are naval militia. Turn back now. Chinese response came. Voice still calm. Allegations are false. We carry only scientific equipment. Any defensive systems permitted by international law, we continue to research station. At 2:12 p.m., Santos transmitted to USS John Finn. Ammasalik patrol to John Finn actual. Chinese fleet refusing to comply. 16 patrol boats versus 12 destroyers. Were outnumbered and outgunned. Request immediate assistance. Captain James Park aboard USS. John Finn responded. Ammasalik patrol. John Finn copies. We are 35 miles out. Inbound at maximum speed. F-35 strike package launching now. Hold your position. Do not engage unless fired upon. Help is coming. At 2:15 p.m., Chinese fleet reached 32 miles from Ammasalik, still approaching. Lieutenant Commander Santos ordered her 16 patrol boats to defensive formation. 120 Marines on coastal station manned defensive positions. M240 machine guns, Javelin missiles, against 12 destroyers carrying 2,400 troops. Overwhelming odds. Santos transmitted to her patrol boats. All Amasilik units, weapons tight. Chinese vessels are not authorized to land. If they attempt beach landing, we engage. We hold this coast. Reinforcements inbound. At 2:18 p.m., Chinese fleet crossed 28-mile mark. Captain Park aboard USS John Finn transmitted final warning. Chinese vessels, this is United States Navy warship. You have crossed into restricted zone with concealed military capability. This constitutes hostile intent. Turn back immediately or face military response. Chinese Admiral Liu Wei, Task Force Zhuilong commander, responded. Voice edged with arrogance. American vessel, we are peaceful researchers. Your aggressive posture violates freedom of navigation. We land at Amasilik research coordinates as planned. Do not interfere. At 2:21 p.m., Chinese fleet crossed 25-mile engagement line. Captain Park transmitted to Admiral Chen aboard USS Gerald R Ford. At 2:27 p.m., USS John Finn launched full salvo, 8 SM-6 missiles, targeting 8 Chinese destroyers. Fire and forget. Missiles away. Flight time, 2 minutes. Chinese destroyers attempted evasive maneuvers. Too late. 4. Type 055 destroyers hit simultaneously. Massive explosions. All sinking. Boom, boom. 2 Type 052D destroyers destroyed. Boom, boom. 2 more Type 055S struck. 8 destroyers sinking. Admiral Liu's voice panicked. All vessels, emergency withdrawal. American firepower overwhelming. Abort mission. Return to international waters. At 2:29 p.m., 3 surviving Chinese destroyers attempted emergency retreat. Maximum speed. Heading east. Abandoning 8 burning hulks. 1,200 crew and Marines dead or drowning. Lieutenant Commander Santos transmitted from Amasilik. John Finn actual, Amasilik patrol. Chinese vessels retreating. Coastal station secure. Outstanding work. You saved 120 Marines from impossible odds, Captain Park responded. 3 Chinese destroyers attempting escape, requesting authorization to pursue, Admiral Chen transmitted. Negative, John Finn, let them run. Virginia-class submarines already positioned in escape route. They're not getting away. At 2:31 p.m., Chinese destroyers fleeing at 34 knots, desperate to escape. Admiral Liu transmitted to Beijing. Eastern Theater Command, Task Force Zhuilong. Mission failed. 8 ships destroyed. Attempting withdrawal. Request immediate air support. Beijing response came. Task Force Zhuilong, return to Chinese waters immediately. No air support available. You are beyond range. Survive if you can. At 2:32 p.m., Admiral Liu ordered his remaining destroyers. All ships, proceed to emergency landing at Amasilik. Disembark troops. Establish beachhead. We still outnumber American patrol force. Too late. At 2:34 p.m., 24 F-35C Lightning II fighters from USS Gerald R Ford arrived over Denmark Strait. Pilots saw 3 Chinese destroyers attempting to reach Amasilik, 8 burning hulks behind them. Lead pilot radioed, all Valkyrie flights, weapons free, engage fleeing hostile vessels. A GM-15-8L RASM, fire for effect. 12. AGM-158C long range. Anti-ship missiles launched, stealthy, sea skimming, fire and forget. Targeting 3 Chinese destroyers. Chinese destroyers detected F-35s too late. Attempted evasive maneuvers. LRASM missiles acquired targets. Terminal phase. Boom, boom, boom. All 3 Chinese destroyers struck. Massive explosions. Ships burning, sinking. But Chinese weren't finished. Admiral Liu's flagship still afloat. Damaged but operational. Attempting final desperate run toward Amasilik beach. 800 PLA Marines still aboard. One last attempt. At 2:37 p.m., USS Delaware and USS Vermont, Virginia-class submarines, intercepted Admiral Liu's damaged flagship. Submerged, silent. Torpedo tubes loaded. Mark 48 AD cap torpedoes ready. Captain Rodriguez aboard USS Delaware gave order. Fire full spread. End this. 4. Mark 48 torpedoes launched. Wire-guided. 60 knots. Chinese flagship detected torpedoes. Too damaged to evade. Too slow to escape. Boom, boom. First 2 torpedoes struck flagship's keel, ship breaking apart. Boom, boom. Final torpedoes finished it. Type 055 destroyer capsizing. Admiral Liu went down with his ship. 800 PLA Marines lost. At 2:41 p.m., F-35C fighters circled burning wreckage. 12 Chinese destroyers destroyed, all sinking. Debris fields everywhere. Oil fires burning. No targets remaining. Lead pilot transmitted. Ford actual. Valkyrie lead. 12 hostile vessels destroyed. No survivors detected. Amasilik coastal station secure. Mission complete. If you're loving this escalation and want to see what happens when Russia and China attack together next week, smash that like button right now, hit subscribe, and drop a comment. Will they ever learn? At 2:47 p.m., U.S. Coast Guard vessels approached debris field, searching for survivors, found scattered lifeboats, Chinese crew in water, hypothermia setting in. Water temperature, -2 degrees. Survival time, 15 minutes maximum. Coast Guard recovered 760 Chinese survivors from wreckage, all captured, all interrogated. At 2:54 p.m., 39 minutes after Chinese fleet crossed engagement line, Battle of Denmark Strait was over. Amasilik coastal station, 120 Marines safe, 16 patrol boats undamaged, facility secure. USS John Finn, minor damage to superstructure, 0 casualties, fully operational. USS Delaware and USS Vermont, 0 damage, all systems operational. Chinese Eastern Theater Command, 12 destroyers destroyed, total loss, 1,640 crew and PLA Marines killed, 760 survivors captured, 0 ships returned to China, 2,400 PLA Marines deployed, only 760 survived, total American victory. Admiral Chen transmitted to U.S. Northern Command. Northcom, this is Ford actual. Chinese naval incursion repelled, 12 hostile vessels destroyed, 760 prisoners recovered, Amasilik station secure, no U.S. casualties. Northern Command response came. Ford actual, outstanding execution. Small patrol force held the line until you arrived. Beijing is screaming about unprovoked attack. We're releasing satellite footage. World will see their deception. Within hours, China tried controlling narrative. Chinese state media claimed peaceful research expedition attacked without warning. International incident, demanded UN investigation. But Pentagon released evidence. Satellite thermal imaging showing concealed YJ-18 missiles. Infrared detection of 2,400 troops hidden in cargo holds. Communications intercepts of Chinese military frequencies ordering beach landing. Type 055 and Type 052. D-destroyer identification confirmed. Admiral Liu's final transmission ordering troop disembarkation recorded. International reaction brutal for Beijing. Headlines worldwide. China's fake research fleet destroyed attempting invasion. Beijing's deception exposed by U.S. surveillance. 12 warships lost in 39 minutes. 2,400 troops deployed. Only 760 survived. Beijing planned to plant flags under science cover. Establish permanent base. Claim Arctic research protections. Instead, their fleet sank in full view of satellites broadcasting to the world. The 760 Chinese prisoners, interrogated, revealed Beijing planned permanent military base disguised as research station. Orders were to overwhelm small American patrol force, land 2,400 troops, hold position until reinforcements arrived. Expected U.S. distracted by Russian threat. Never expected immediate response with carrier strike group. Strategic impact massive. China sent 12 modern destroyers, 2,400 elite troops. Result, 1,640 casualties, 760 prisoners, 12 ships destroyed, 0 objectives achieved. Arctic ambitions ended permanently. Japan increased military cooperation with U.S. South Korea requested additional missile defense. Taiwan saw China's weakness. Philippines offered expanded base access. Admiral Liu, who commanded Task Force Zhuelong, killed when flagship sank. Eastern Theater Command, disgraced. Chinese naval expansion into Arctic, permanently abandoned. China learned what Russia learned. Deception doesn't work against U.S. surveillance. Disguised warships are still warships. Small American patrol forces hold until overwhelming reinforcements arrive, and United States Navy controls access to Greenland. 2:15 p.m. China sent 12 destroyers disguised as research vessels to overwhelm 120 Marines and 16 patrol boats. 2:54 p.m. 39 minutes later, 1,640 Chinese casualties, 760 prisoners, 12 ships destroyed, 2,400 PLA Marines deployed, only 760 survived, 0 U.S. casualties. The strait still bears Chinese wreckage. The prisoners still tell their story. The satellites still track every Chinese movement. Beijing learned you can't deceive America's surveillance network, and you can't overwhelm American forces even when outnumbered. 39 minutes, 12 destroyers. 120 Marines held the line. Total American victory. This is Denmark Strait. This is Ammassalik. This is what happens when you try to deceive the United States Navy and attack American positions. 12 Chinese warships, 120 Marines, 16 patrol boats, 1 destroyer, 24 fighters, 39 minutes, total American victory. Never attempt deception against U.S. surveillance. Never challenge U.S. Navy control of Arctic waters. Never assume you can overwhelm American forces with numbers, because satellites see everything. Small forces hold impossible odds. Reinforcements always arrive, and American firepower is overwhelming. China tried deception. China lost 12 destroyers and 1,640 personnel. China learned. Never challenge the United States Navy.
Next week, Russia and China attack together.